Okay, mindful nerd moment for today. Juan was nice enough to say that he was on board with us. It's always exciting having guests join us. So, appreciate you letting us do this with you. So, with the mindful nerd moment, since we have someone new with us, just a friendly little reminder of what this is. The reason we did this podcast is we wanted to talk nerd as a way of just helping people better understand mental health stuff. And a lot of times there's a lot of barriers in terms of kind of learning about these things. And one of the barriers is honestly, it's kind of like being healthy or having the physique that you want. Like sometimes if it feels like work, you don't want to do it. So we thought a mindful nerdy moment might make it more fun and help people kind of get a sense for what mindfulness is. Um, so Juan, do you know anything about mindfulness?
Not that much.
Okay, perfect. It'll be a nice refresher reminder for our listeners. So essentially, what we're trying to do with mindfulness is be in the present moment as much as possible. Trying as best we can when we lose focus, just redirecting ourselves back to whatever we're presently doing and trying to do it with an open mind without judging it as good or bad or something you like or don't like, but just kind of allowing yourself to exist in the moment. And it's something that tends to be really helpful for mental well being because we can't control everything in life. And so, if we find a way to be able to ride the waves essentially of life, then things tend to go better for us. What I'm going to have you guys do Juan and Keaton, for anyone listening, pick out your favorite comic book. Keaton, what is it that you grabbed?
I grabbed the New Avengers #1. It's a variant with the Disney characters as Avengers. It's a really fun cover. I love it.
That's great. And then Juan, what did you grab?
I grabbed Hulk 181. The first
Nice.
appearance of Wolverine is one of my favorite characters, and I'm never being able to get the real deal.
There you go. Awesome. Okay. So, what we're going to do is just help you all be able to just take in the experience of the comic book in front of you. So, we're going to start how we always start. I want you to just take a few deep breaths, use it as a way of trying to center yourself and a way to focus in on what we're about to do. So, just noticing what it's like to breathe in, filling up your lungs all the way. And then when you're ready, breathing back out, making sure all that air leaves your lungs. And first, I want you to look at the comic book in front of you and really take in all of the details, the colors, the lines, any contrasts that you see. The images, the shapes. Notice not only what it looks like, but you might notice that the things that you see might bring on certain memories, certain thoughts, certain feelings. Noticing those things too. I want to challenge you to look at it as if you've never looked at a comic book before and really taking it in as if it's that first time again. And next, if you're comfortable with it, I want to invite you to close your eyes and feel the comic book. Notice the textures. Notice what you feel about its shape. Maybe flipping the pages and noticing what that feels as well. Notice where it might be stiff, where it might give. And then shift to noticing the sounds. Sounds that might happen as you hold and move the pages. of the comic book. Once again, taking in those sounds as if it's the first time you've heard them. And last, I want you to hold the comic book up and smell. Notice what smells might come to you. And smell can often bring on memories. And notice if there are any memories that come to you or any thoughts or feelings. And when you're ready, I invite you to open your eyes, take one last look at the comic book, appreciating it for just being there, being something that we all enjoy. And when you're ready, take one more deep breath, just as a way of wrapping up this mindful nerd moment. And we'll talk about how that was for you guys. Keaton, I saw you smiling when I had you smelling the comic book. I'm very intrigued what you were thinking.
Oh, it definitely. Well, you're right. Like the smell of a comic, it does trigger a definite flashback. And my first, what it took me back to, especially being here, was my very first time ever going to nostalgia newsstand, like, and having
Wow.
my own money to buy comics. And first time I ever had
Yeah.
like my own money to really put into buying comic books was the new 52. And I had bought comic books there before, but I just remember the new 52 was the first time I went, and I made like my pull list and going in and just getting that stack of comics in a brown bag and paying for bags and boards, and just like it was, the whole store smelled like this. And so it was, yeah, it's definitely a unique smell. And it's very interesting how smells will bring back memories more so than
Oh, yeah.
even like seeing things.
Yep.
That's something. Yeah,
Yep.
I love that.
How was this for you, Juan? Because you delved in not knowing what you were getting yourself into.
So I actually have done this before for sports. I used to play basketball,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
and there was a lot of sports psychology behind it,
Oh, yeah.
relaxation before and after practice. And back then was the smells of the basketball court and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
here with the comic book, made me remind of two things. The first one is the first time I saw this comic book, which
Oh,
was
wow.
when I was 10 years old. I went to this comic book store in Puerto Rico, and this was in the wall, and it was Wolverine and drawn in a different manner. And the guy on the counter told me that's the first appearance. And I fell in love with this book.
Yeah.
This book is like Wolverine is one of my top three favorite characters,
Awesome.
and made me fall in love with the look of Hulk, Wolverine, Wendigo, and every time I see those three characters in a comic book, I will try to grab them. And then the smell is something that reminded me of my wife, because my wife loves this smell. Every time she's come with me opening the store in the morning, the first thing she does is take a smell. She
Oh, she stops
loves,
to smell the comics. I
yeah,
love it.
she loves the smell of new books. Is
Mm,
such like when you go to a library or you go to a
yep.
bookstore, and this store has that smell. And it's one of the things that she always make a point about, the store smell, the comic book smell.
Oh, I
And
love that.
it is, something that very dear to my heart.
Oh, I love it.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Juan, for being our guinea pig, and letting us appreciate something apparently your wife appreciates too, which is
Yeah.
stopping to smell the comics.
Thank you so much for having me again. And we'll love to do this again.
Definitely. Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, this is the first of many for sure. Definitely.
Thank you so much.